Here we go. Coming to you live from the Sacramento UFO Conference 2012. And we are about to wrap it up. And so we decided to keep the best for last. Kerry Cassidy from the Camelot Project. Well, you know, it's been a fun weekend, but now we're really going to talk about what the hell's going on out there. Kerry, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sweet. All right. I was listening to you when you were speaking, and you know, we got two different things going on here. I am a investigator that goes out and looks for the truth. You get the people that go out and get the truth, and you basically tell everybody about it, right? In a way, I mean, well,
actually, I have to investigate as well.
Okay. You are very popular. Everybody knows who in the hell you are. It's as simple as that. I mean, you are out there. You have thousands and thousands of people who listen to you every frickin' week, and that is awesome. Why? Because you are making some noise out there. You are. And what I want to know is, there are stuff going on. I mean, we can go on forever, but we only have a certain amount of time. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the reptilians, the Greys, the UFOs, military. Okay. In Fresno, we have an underground facility, a couple of them, as a matter of fact. And we believe that the reptilians are underground. Our military know they're there. And you probably have no clue what's going on in Fresno, but oh my God, when you said you were going to have me on here pretty soon on your show, we're going to blow it up. We are going to blow it up. I'm just going to blow you away with what's going on.
You can try.
I'm sure you've heard it all. I'm sure you heard it all. Underground facilities. Okay, have you ever hear anything about in Fresno?
Yes.
Okay, fill me in. What have you heard?
Well, actually, I have to tell you that I've driven Highway 5 a lot, and actually recently I ran into a bunch of troops hanging out at some really kind of like gas stations, and I don't know, there's these turnoffs, you know, places where you can get something to eat really quickly, and there's no reason for them to be there, like zero. There's nothing out there except agricultural land, and I think I mentioned, you know, it's just very interesting. And it's not the first time I've run into troops out there. Our understanding is there is an underground base that goes all along Highway 5 underneath the ground. And as a sensitive, I can sense that as well. So I am not surprised about Fresno, actually. Although I am surprised about those ruins that you seem to have stumbled on. I think that's quite interesting. I don't know where that's going to go. I am interested to hear more about that. Sure.
I will see if I can get you the video. We'll go from there. I went up to him and I took video. I mean, cool. Eddie was with us when we did it. You know, these are freaking boulder rocks. You know, and even the archaeologist from Sacramento said, you know, I don't think these were actually found at the location put up. These were brought from a long distance from Fresno. So there's definitely something going down there. I think the military back in the 30s found something there, seized it underground, and that's where they're at right now. And I think that's what's going on. We just had a discussion about 2012. Let's talk about that a little bit. Nibiru, solar flares. You know, there's so many things that I hear that could possibly be coming our way. I mean, obviously, you know the government's preparing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think in your heart that is going to happen?
Well, I kind of just answered that on stage, but I guess to be more specific, I mean, I stay open. I think a lot of people maybe don't understand exactly where I'm at on a personal level, so I'll talk kind of personally here, just for a change. And what I would say is, because I'm an intuitive, I wait to get information coming into me on an internal level. And what's funny is, I know I'm the one person that people come to give information to. And although I look at all that information, and I certainly listen to it, and I do put it out there as best I can, and bring it to people so that they get it also, and they can kind of look at that whole sort of smorgasbord of information and pick and choose what makes sense to them. If you look at Project Camelot, you will actually see that we are solving a mystery and that it is going in a direction. It is not just random, and we don't just invite anyone to come on and just say anything. And if you listen to my interviews, I get attacked by people that are saying, oh, you're leading the witness, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. You're aiming to get a certain thing out of that person. And the fact is that I get intuitively a message about where that person is lying, or where their kind of programming is kicking in and they're getting into a monotonous kind of sort of telling of what they've told over and over again, and I throw them off that track, and I'm looking for that piece of information, that piece of gold that is going to be really the new piece of truth that they have to bring forward, and why I was sent to them, or why they were sent to me. And something you have to keep in mind is a lot of whistleblowers are actually coming to us, and we decide if we're going to interview them. And a lot of people, I don't bother. You know, people write me all the time, people send me stuff. Some people beg me to interview them. I just don't do it. So there is a method to the madness. But I will say that when all's said and done, I am waiting for my inner guidance to tell me what to do, okay, and where to go and where to be. But a long time ago, I made a decision that during these days, I would be on the cutting edge. I would be on the front line. There are some of us that have chosen to be that, possibly yourself. You know, in other words, we're going to take the bullets first. I'm willing to do that. Now, if it's positive, awesome, dude. No, I'm there. Samadhi is a very natural state to me, because I, you know, as I've said, connected my chakras and did all of that work in my 20s. So I've been doing this for years. And I think that bliss is all very nice, but when all's said and done, it's all about coming back and helping your fellow man and woman. It's about helping the people on the planet. So I'm not all about, you know, bliss and happiness and fairy tale and making my life happy. Actually, that's cool, because I can go there anytime I want. And I believe, you know, I'm happy right now. I'm happy to be here. You know, I mean, I think this is it. I think we're it. And, you know, I like aliens. I like, you know, visitors of all kinds. And I've been visited by lots of different beings. That's another thing. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but when you ask me about 2012, it's really about, well, how is it right now? And right now, I can tell you that I've had some amazing sort of incoming energies to me in the last few months. So I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are entering some amazing times in terms of that, the energetics that are changing us and changing our body and expanding our minds. And so to me, that's the most inspiring thing that's going on right now. I know the government's planning some diabolical stuff. I know that some of those things and the earth changes, I know that that will wake up people that have basically closed themselves off in kind of cocoons of sleep. And the ones that are, you know, drinking beer and watching TV and watching football games and, you know, believing the right-left politics and all this nonsense and don't understand the whole thing's orchestrated, you know. The ones that are awake are the ones that interest me. Those are the ones that I'm speaking to. And all I want to do is get them to wake up, because I know that all they have to do is walk into a room with their family members, and they're going to change the atmosphere and the chemical makeup of that room, and that's going to start stimulating their family members to start waking up. They don't even realize they're going to do that. When you leave here today, that's what's going to happen. You can't help it. You've got a charge that's happened to you just by being here and connecting with these, you know, wonderful people that are here and trying to get to the truth of whatever it is. So it's that connection between humans, and it's also looking towards this amazing future that eventually we're going to create. I'm sure of that. And I'm sort of here to be on the avant-garde of that as well. So I'm not just here about doom and gloom. I'm definitely looking for a positive future. I think we're going to go through some rough times. I'm not going to, you know, lie to you. But in the end, you know, I'm an eternal being. You're an eternal being, and we're going back to source. So it's all good, you know. I don't know. It's a drama. It's being played out. I'm still here for the movie.
Awesome. I was talking to somebody. I met somebody here yesterday. As a matter of fact, he's out on one of those tables. He is in the military. And one of the things that was really frightening me is that the government obviously is planning something. Now, let's talk about that. Is the government, the military, are they the same in one? And from what I heard yesterday, no, it is not. I heard from a gentleman out on one of these tables that the military knows what the government is doing. They know exactly what they're frickin' up to. And he even told me that they're talking among themselves that if the government is planning something, are they going to tell the military to basically do what they are told as far as, you know, kill our fellow man? And he said, hell no, we are not going to do that. You know, the military are not going to take us out. And that's what I hear. And
well, let me say this. No, maybe our military are not going to, but that's why the Chinese troops will be brought in. That's why troops from other countries, Russians, whatever, that's why the United Nations will step in.
Right.
Our own people know they won't turn against us, at least not all of them. But, you know, and the robots, what about the robots? What about the drones? They have tons of robots under the ground, android robots, human-looking robots. They're prepared to do whatever they need to do. You know, yes, the government's planning something. No, you're right. The military, first of all, the military is split. There are different ET races running different parts of the military. From what I understand, the Navy goes with one group, the Army with another, the Air Force with another, and then you've got the Russians going with another group and the Chinese going with another group. And so you got to understand it's a real mixed bag out there. And you've got the white hats, which across the board, it's like a line, you know, a sort of a layer within all the different militaries and all the different agencies. We call them white hats. They're the ones that are in there fighting for you. They're the ones that are releasing information to people like me in Camelot, maybe you. They're fighting the good fight, but from behind the other line, you know, the line. So they are putting their lives on the line, but that's why we call them white hats. Some of them you may never know them. You may walk right up to the one, and you may classify them as the enemy, and they may not be. They may have been doing the right thing for you, but from behind the line. So I try to, when I meet a person that's working for the military complex, I try to, you know, keep an open mind as to where they're at. I keep also hoping that some of those guys are waking up on a daily basis, just as you are waking up. And it's very likely that that's happening. It's highly likely, because they're in a position, because they're going to stumble on things, okay? They're going to see things they shouldn't see. They're going to be told to come in to be reprogrammed. You know, like Robert Solis once told me, you know, he was called in to go to the dentist. Well, he didn't need to go to the dentist, and he became suspicious. And fact of the matter is that man had, you know, he actually had Native American blood, and they're very intuitive, and he sensed something was not right. He was a military man. He was called in. They were telling him to go to a doctor. He said, I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not going to a doctor. You know, I just interviewed this amazing man called Jim Trafficant. I'm about to release his interview. I met him at the other UFO conference that I was just at, Conspiracy Con. And he's an ex-congressman who spent like 7.5 years in jail because they framed him, because he wouldn't do what they wanted to do, and he didn't want to play by the rules. You know, this is one of those guys who's basically a white hat, who's been working, prior to when he went to prison, he was working with the system. He was trying to be a good congressman and do the right thing. He was highly popular at the time, but he said the wrong things. He was honest. You know, that doesn't wash. He wasn't looking for votes. He was looking for truth. That's very unusual. You're going to be blown away by my interview with him, by the way. This guy's been, you know, stepped on in every way. They pretty much thought he was going to be dead in prison. It's a miracle that he survived to this point, and he's still talking. I mean, that, you know, that's some serious guts, right? You know, so I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing. The white hats are really our hope, in my opinion. Okay. So no, I don't think that our military will necessarily turn against us, other than the programmed ones probably. But you know, on the other hand, there are going to be troops, and there are troops. There's evidence of troops that are here in the country right now. Those are the ones that are being trained. Now, obviously, you are. I mean, you got stuff coming to you on a daily basis. Is there a war going on right now with the good guys and the bad guys? In other words, the white hats taking out? Yeah, I mean, it is really interesting. There was this, you know, this incident off the coast of California with a missile that was shot from a, you know, well, nobody knew where it was shot from, right. And submarine and so on and so forth. And the bottom line is, there was actually parts, we were getting different conflicting sort of whistleblower back channel information, and part of that was because the guys in the military were being told by their superior officers certain things were going on, and then other people were being told other things. And in essence, it was all, the military was like in a mess, because it was one part of the military against the other part of the military, and the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. And one of those militaries is mixing it up. They are on purpose, you know, creating things like 9/11, while the rest of the military is back there, or the FBI, or whoever they are, trying to fight the good fight for you and do their jobs like normal people, and finding out they're being lied to by the very people they work for. And this is when their eyes get opened. So yeah, it's a huge. Now, not too long ago, we had a massive explosion in Virginia, I believe, where somebody said there was about 60,000 people who perished underground, and those were the ones who were against the American people. Is that fact? Did you hear anything about that, or am I just picking on something that? Well, yeah, there's a lot of talk about you know, sort of explosions and wars going on in underground bases or whatever. Not going to name any names. Certain people are talking about that. I've even interviewed some of those people. I'm getting conflicting information, let's just put it that way, about that. And so I am as much a skeptic. It may not sound that way, but I keep an open mind. I don't just go, oh, this person told me that, so it's true. Yeah, no. I wait. I do what the military calls triangulate the information. I need 3 sources that come from completely different angles to tell me the same thing more than once, and then I begin to consider it, and we compare and contrast it. Bill and I used to have this thing where they would go, we would say, well, there's a red flag there because something isn't jiving. One of the 3 is not mixing. So is one of those people lying? It's a very, taking information and discerning the truth out of it, gelling the truth down from it, very complex. Who's being used? Who's a good guy? Who knows they're being used? Who's letting themselves be used? Who doesn't know they're being used, but they're being used for a dark thing? Who thinks they're a white hat, but they're not? The white you know, the light is parading as the dark, and the dark is parading as the light. It really is kind of switched opposite right now. And so I would not assume that because, you know, I always said to people, you know, if somebody's nice to me and they smile and they're a little too sweet, I'm suspicious. You know, it's just it's just the way I am.
I better piss you off then.
No, you're doing a good job. So, but what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? Because an honesty is an honesty. It doesn't have all this sugarcoating nonsense. So when somebody has to sugarcoat something too much, it's suspicious. I mean, I believe, you know, Sean David Morton always says, he says, Kerry thinks that the movie V was a documentary. and actually I have to say that's true. You know, for all intents and purposes, that was a great key to how they'll sell you everything they sell you. Whether it's toothpaste with fluoride in it, or, you know, fluorescent lighting, or, you know, telling you to take a flu shot. They're going to smile, you know. They're going to give you a nice, pretty stewardess to shepherd you along the way when they pick you up in the UFO and they want to eat you for dinner. I mean, you know, I'm sorry. I'm very, you know, I do have a very sort of tell it like it is, you know. I believe in that Christ came with a sword to cut through the bullshit, to put it plainly.
What do you see, or what have you heard that we should be expecting, let's say, in the next 2 months? Anything?
Oh, God, next 2 months. Well, I mean, I have heard the end of June that there could be something serious go on with the financial system, but I've also been hearing that for months. Certainly they're working on it, okay? But I don't know when they're going to sort of pull the plug, so to speak, on that whole sort of house of cards. It could be a problem. I mean, I have had recent information saying that the dollar is going to go to zero, that they're going to, you know, but they'd have mass riots in the street if this happened here in America. I mean, I know people aren't rioting about most everything, but I can guarantee everyone knows that. But on the other hand, they are, you know, they are preparing for just that kind of thing. They actually want you to hit the streets so they can kill you. You know, so they can throw you in jails and whatever else. You know, your mind and your consciousness are the strongest weapon you have in this war. It's not really your guns that are going to win this war. It's going to be your consciousness. It's going to be your hearts and souls. And when all's said and done, I do want to say, I know that we were just in a panel and people were saying prepare, but I want to say that it's really going to be about helping your neighbor. That's what it's going to be about. It is going to be about working together and supporting each other. That's where we're strongest, okay? If we stand together, they can't touch us. In the end, it's just like Gandhi said, and I believe that. So that's where it's at for me.
So again, you know, we're going to go over a couple more questions that, you know, that we talked about the panel, because we got a new audience now out there. 2012. So basically, you don't expect anything major to happen at around December 21st. What do you think?
Well, actually, no. I do expect amazing things.
Okay.
I'm taking a group to Egypt on purpose because of that. I want to hold the light in that area where there's been a lot of darkness of late, where the powers that be have basically taken control of the Stargate. I'm going to bring some very strong, you know, individuals, some of whom are listed on my website. You know. Jordan Maxwell is now considering coming on our trip. Sean David Morton, Miriam Delicato's coming. Rebecca Jernigan, Michael Tellinger, myself, Hugh Newman. I'm looking to get a group together that will change the sort of balance of energies at the Giza Plateau, because it's a key spot during the transition. But I do believe we're going to have some highly energized, sort of whatever you want to call that. Part of what I consider to be that, like Paul Laviolette talked about, the super wave. I believe the super wave is here. I believe it's incoming, And that's the only thing that he couldn't sort of come right round to say, because he didn't necessarily see the scientific evidence. But I have whistleblower testimony saying that they sent superluminal craft out beyond the edges of the solar system years ago, and they saw the wave heading towards us. And that, you know, so that's happening. And I do believe that there could be like some giant, you know, the TV show Fast Forward, there could be some mind-altering moments in the next, around the 21st of 2012. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be helping that situation. But at the same time, I also believe that between now and then, they may want to roll out a few things. I'm not so sure they're going to be successful. I think there'll be some problems. We've got a lot of white hats out there that are countering a lot of their moves. We've got a lot of positive beings, unseen beings, presences that are here trying to help our side. There's a lot of negative side on the other, you know, I mean, you know, it is really like that. You know, you're watching the movie and you know, everything heightens. But I also don't think 2012 is just it. In other words, I do agree that there could be some catastrophic things coming down the pike in 2013. I've had a lot of precog dreams of the future. The trouble is that, as I say, is that we have multiple timelines that we exist on simultaneously, and the trouble is knowing which one's going to play out. But things could take a turn, and we could end up on one of those timelines that I've seen. If that's the case, then we have some very heavy-duty things coming down the pike. I do know that Bob Dean never wanted to talk about what he really saw between now and 2019, okay? So we've got a slew of years in which we are going to have to deal with some stuff, major stuff. And, you know, there could be some major events. So, no, I would never say there's nothing, you know, much going to happen. I would say there's everything going to happen. And maybe small bits and pieces of all of it, and maybe some worse things, and maybe some absolutely spectacularly wonderful things. It's going to go the gamut.
We have the Olympics coming up, 2012. I hear false flag. What do you hear?
John Irwin is one of my whistleblowers. He wrote a book called The 16. He lives in England. He's been sending me information, you know, constantly about thinking there's a false flag going to happen in London. I happen to believe that, you know, London is the financial center for the Illuminati, City of London. I don't think they're going to do anything too major over there. They might have a few, you know, try to scare people or something. You know, sure, I could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling. I'm not seeing anything right off the bat right now with London and the Olympics. You know, what I don't do is talk about the things that I do see in terms of negative experiences, because I'm not sure they're going to happen. I could throw them out with, you know, just a litany of stuff, but would it mean anything really? The other thing is that things do change kind of on a dime, and the Illuminati themselves will change things on a dime. I mean, you got to look at it this way. These people work underground. They use Cray computers to triangulate and figure out strategically, well, if we do this, then if this will happen, and then that'll happen, and that'll happen. It's like, you know, it's like a pool table where you have a billiard ball, and you're trying to angle it to hit this wall and that wall and that wall and that wall. And you can, there's a lot of different scenarios. In other words, the ball could go in a different direction, or there are different alternative ways of doing it. And then all of a sudden, there's something they didn't predict. And the one thing, again, and I just keep stressing this, the one thing they cannot predict is you, your consciousness. That's it. That's the one thing. That is the variable that is just not predictable. And you must know that they put all this time and all this effort in the programming out there to dumb you down, because you are so fucking frightening when you get together and when you wise up. So I put my money on that, all right? That's what I'm interested in. And that's why I don't sign and seal and deliver the future, because I'm interested. You are not predictable. That's what's so wonderful about human beings. In the end, there's this X factor, call it what you will, about humans. They just can't nail it down.
And that goes for the conditioning on TV, like you said, you know, all those, what you see, V, Skyline, Battle of Los Angeles, I mean, Independence Day, you know, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You think it's just a coincidence? No. They are in cahoots, and they know exactly what they're doing. They're scaring the crap out of you guys. That's what they're doing.
Well, let's put it this way: they're scaring some people.
They're scaring some people.
You know, there are some people that are just fucking aren't scared.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're just not.
No.
You know, get over it. So, you know, I think there are a lot of kids out there that are like, bring it on, dude. You know.
Sweet. Well, there you go. That's what I wanted to hear. Be prepared. You never know what's going to happen, but continue listening to this girl over here because she's got all the answers. I don't. I just wanted her to get on here to tell everybody what the hell's going on. And I'm going to be on her show hopefully within the next month or so, and we're going to go talk a little bit about what I'm finding out in Fresno and about those ruins that I found out there, and hopefully we'll get the video out there. So, Kerry, thanks, man. Sweet. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for being here. That's it. We are done. 2012 Sacramento UFO Conference. Be here next year if we're still alive. Of course we're going to be still here alive. So, all right, guys. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see everybody next year and on the radio. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.